do this thing. Yeah. Hey friends, my name is Amy Rebecca. Welcome back to my channel and day 10 of Vlogmas, maybe? Again, apologies for how annoyingly nasal I still sound in this video, but my sinuses have turned on me. M's have become very difficult to pronounce. I am fully aware of how ridiculous it sounds, but it is what it is. Anyway, in today's video, I wanted to share my top 5 tips to help you actually change your life. Obviously, a lot of us are gearing up for the new year and we're ready to make some New Year's resolutions. If you're not watching this video at that time of year, then obviously that's fine too. You can implement change at any time. It doesn't need to be January, it doesn't need to be a Monday, it can literally be at like 3 o'clock on a random Wednesday. That works too. But typically this is the time of year where a lot of people are ready for a fresh start, they're feeling motivated, they're ready to take on the world. And then a lot of times by January 15th, they've like fallen off the bandwagon and they're back to doing whatever it was they were doing before. Who can relate? Be honest, put up your hand if you've ever done that. Yeah, it's a whole thing because it's easy to wake up one morning and say, hey, I'm ready to make some serious change. I'm ready to be my best self and live my best life. But it is quite another thing to actually consistently put the steps in place to make that a reality. And this is not going to be a list of New Year's resolutions ideas. This is going to be my top 5 favorite mindset shifts that you can implement to get the most out of any of the goals that you set for yourself in the upcoming year or literally whenever you decide to set new goals. These might sound simple, because they are, but they're also really effective. And when I started to understand these things and implement them in my own life, that's when I started to see real, consistent, substantial change. Before we jump in, for those of you who are new, hi, welcome. I hope you decide to join our little family by pressing that subscribe button. And for everybody who's watching this, make sure that you hit that little bell so that you never miss an upload. Now let's jump into it. So this first tip is extremely important if you are looking to change your life in some way, or if you're trying to achieve some kind of success, whatever that might look like for you, and that is to set goals and let go of plans. For me, the big difference between goals and plans is that goals are aspirational. Goals help to motivate you, they give you a sense of direction, and they help you to keep striving forward in your life to move towards things that you want to achieve. Plans, on the other hand, are far more restrictive and can actually hold you back from achieving certain things. Let me give you an example to kind of put that into context. Imagine you wanted to be CEO of a company, like that was your dream, Jeff Bezos, that kind of vibe. You can set that as your goal and start the process of working towards that. You might research what kind of skills you need to get to that kind of position. You might start going on training courses, reading certain books, and slowly but surely implementing all of these new habits and skills that you will need to work towards that goal. However, if you make a plan to become a CEO, that's going to look slightly different. A plan would look more like, I am going to be CEO of this company by this date, and I am going to do that by doing this training course, which will lead me to get this promotion, which will lead me to mingle with these people, who will introduce me to these people, who will then help me to get my next promotion, which will lead me to get into this different company where I will be able to rise through these ranks until eventually I am CEO. It's great. You put a lot of thought into it. The problem is, we like to think we have a lot more control in our lives than we actually do. Look back at the last few years. None of us could have planned for this. And if you were living your life according to a very narrow, well mapped out plan, then you may have found that it all kind of went to pieces when the world went crazy. Whereas if you weren't focusing so much on the small details and where you needed to be when, then you could still be working towards your goal even now, even though maybe you got held back a bit, maybe you had to take a different direction than the one you originally thought you were going to take, but that's fine because you're still making the steps forward. It can feel really comforting to have a plan, to kind of have this sense that you know exactly where you're going and what you can expect. but that's just not realistic. None of us know where we're going. None of us know what to expect. And if you are so focused on where you think you need to be at each specific time, what steps you need to go through, what hoops you need to jump through, and when, then you might miss out on other opportunities that might get you where you need to go faster. So I guess the main takeaway is focus on the main goal and let all the little details kind of sort themselves out along the way. My second tip to make sustainable change in your life is to hold yourself accountable. Why do so many New Year's resolutions fail? Well, it's because on January the 1st, we all feel super motivated and maybe a little bit hungover. But we're like pumped for change. We're ready to go. Throw on your gym shoes and like head out the door, ready for that run, ready for that promotion, just ready for life. We can't be like ready for life every single minute of every single day, because that's not how it works. You're not constantly motivated, you're not constantly energized. You are a human, you will have bad days. Relying on motivation to get you to your goals is kind of like relying on an uncharged electric car to get you to Edinburgh. You're going to run out of power at some point, and then what are you going to do? So find ways to hold yourself accountable. It could be that you have a little calendar that you put on your wall, and every day that you do something towards your goals, you like check it off. It could be a to-do list. You could join some kind of group with like-minded people who are trying to achieve the same thing that you are. Like if you want to run, join a runners group. If you want to read more, join a book club. And of course, this seems like the best time to mention my This Time Next Year challenge. This is something that I started back in July. It was my decision to draw a line in the sand and say, I am changing my life in 365 days. It actually turned out to be far more successful than I was anticipating, and a lot of people wanted to join in. So I started the This Time Next Year challenge group. It's a Patreon page where you can join and get access to all of my printables, exclusive videos, my tips on how I am changing my life and how you can use that to help change yours, and also access to a community of people who are trying to do the same thing that you are trying to do. Doing things alone is hard. Having a community makes it easier. If you're interested in the This Time Next Year challenge group, I will link that in the description box down below. You can go and check it out. But yeah, holding yourself accountable is really important, whether that's like finding a group of people that you can do things with, or just working alone if that's your kind of vibe, and just finding little ways to mark your successes. That will definitely be helpful. Tip number 3 is to read, listen to, in some way absorb motivational and inspirational content. Fun fact, I love trash TV. I could watch Selling Sunset all day long. Toddlers and Tiaras, yes. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, bring it on. Sometimes I just need to sit there, turn off my brain and watch trash TV. But I also know that that kind of content is not really providing me with anything. It's not helping me to learn or grow or change, and it's not really motivating me to do anything other than buy really expensive shoes. I definitely recommend reading personal development books. I will link my all-time favorites in the description box down below. I can't go into them all now because I will be talking all day, and I don't know if you can tell, but my voice is starting to go. Even if you're not a reader, find YouTube channels that have motivational content. If one of your goals is working towards financial stability, find some books or YouTube channels or podcasts where people are talking about how to budget effectively, how to invest, how to grow your wealth. If you're trying to work towards owning your own business, then again, find content that relates to that, that will help to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you. And it's not like you have to cut out all other content. You can still binge watch Real Housewives, that's fine. Just get in a balance. Tip number 4 is something I talk about a lot, and that is acknowledging that progress is not pretty. We are so used to, in this culture of social media and the highlight reels and the that girl aesthetic, we're so used to seeing people living these seemingly perfect, aesthetically pleasing lives. They get up at 5 a.m, green smoothie, yoga on the beach, hair is perfect, nails are perfect, their lunch looks like it's been designed at a Michelin star restaurant. That's not real life. A lot of influencers make it look like their lives are perfect. And I want you to remember that you're not aiming for perfect, because perfect doesn't exist. You're aiming for better than yesterday. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. If better than yesterday still looks like crap, but it looks a little bit less crap than yesterday, then that's still a win. That's still a success. It doesn't need to look a certain way. It doesn't need to be glamorous. It doesn't need to be fabulous. You don't need to have it together all the time. You don't need to have all of your plates up and spinning every single moment of every single day, because you can't do that. I can't do that. No one can do that. And if you're looking at people on social media, on TV, even within your own life, who are presenting this idea that they are doing that they have all the plates up and spinning at once and it's just easy for them, then the truth is they actually have a lot of smashed plates on the ground that you just can't see. If you want your progress to look a certain way, if you want it to be this huge leap from one day to the next where suddenly you wake up and think, I'm gonna get my life together, and then by the afternoon it just is, then you are going to be sorely disappointed, and that is when you're going to end up giving up. The key to all of this is consistency, and that means you're going to have to make small, steady progress. And sometimes it's going to be a disaster. My last tip is to keep track of your progress, for the very reason that sometimes it is going to look like a disaster. Some days you are going to think, I have achieved literally nothing. I am not making any progress towards my goals. I feel so disappointed in myself. Why can't I get this right? And if you've been keeping track of your progress, then you will always have records or like journals or pictures to look back on so that you can see how far you've come. In my This Time Next Year challenge, I write down what I've done every single day to bring me closer to my goals. That way, when I feel like, oh, I never really do anything, like, oh, I'm such a fraud and a failure, I can look back at like hundreds of days worth of things that I've achieved, and you can't argue with that. Keep records, keep track, and then you will always have that to look back on, and that'll help you feel proud of yourself and encourage you to keep going. I guess the main takeaway in this video that I want to get across is that any change you make, it needs to be sustainable. It's not about trying to do it all at once. It's not about trying to do it perfectly. It's not about trying to get the biggest amount of progress the fastest that you can. And I think sometimes it feels that way because that's a lot of the information that we get on social media. That's kind of the message that everybody seems to be selling these days. Fast results, change your life in 30 days. Nobody's changing their life in 30 days, okay? Change your life, your whole life, your whole life. Physical health, mental health, job, finances, getting it all together in 30 days. Do you know how ridiculous that sounds? It's not possible. The key really is consistency and making everything feel more manageable. And hopefully these little mindset shifts will make it easier to do that. I've been talking for such a long time and my voice is really almost gone at this point. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. Let me know in the comment section down below what you are ready to take on as a new challenge in the upcoming year or whenever it is that you're watching this. I will, like I said, link the This Time Next Year challenge in the description box for those of you who would like to join in with that. But until next time, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember that you are enough just as you are, and I will see you all soon. Bye!